Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivracharya Sutra Sata Shri Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Channaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की नवदीप धाम की श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी की यमुना माई की श्रीमती तुलसी देवी की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhukla Srimati Bir Krishna Goswami Niti Namne Namo Hamsa Nikashaya Prabhupada Priyate Sudashdinishta Pemtasya Vakya Navadane. So, Hare Krishna and good morning to everyone. Welcome to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class at Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Temple, Sydney, Australia. Welcome to all our Mayapur online TV viewers and ISKCON Sydney YouTube and possibly ISKCON Facebook page. Lots of places. So this morning we are going to be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, which is titled Divisions of the Creation, and it's text number 10. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay. Viduru Vacha Yatatha Bahurupasya Harir Adbhuta Karmanaha Kalakhyam Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayana Prabhu Viduruvacha Yatatta Bahurupasya Harir Adbhuta Karmanaha Kalakhyam Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayana Prabhu Viduruvacha Yathatha Bahurupasya Hariradbhuta Karmanaha Kalakhyam Lakshanam Brahman Yatha Varnayana Prabhu. Yatata Bahurupasya Harirupata Karmanaha Namratsnam Brahman Yatapnana Prabhu Viduruvacha Yatata Bahurupasya Harirupata Karmanaha Namratsnam Brahman Na Prabhu Viduruvacha Yatata Bahurupasya Hariradbhuta karmanaha Kalakhyam lakshanam brahman Yatha varnayana prabhu Viduruvacha Yatatta bahurupasya Hariradbhuta karmanaha Kalakhyam lakshanam brahman Yatha varnayana prabhu. Okay, so the words and the meanings. Vidura Uvacha. Vidur said, Yatha, as, Atha, you have said, Bahurupasya, having varieties of forms, Harer, of the Lord, Adbhuta, wonderful, Karmanaha, of the actor, Kala, time, Akhyam, of the name, Lakshanam, symptoms, Brahman, O learned Brahmana, Yatha, as it is, Varnaya, please describe, Na, unto us, Prabhu, O Lord. Okay, so we've got the translation and the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So translation, Vidura inquired from Maitreya, O my Lord, O greatly learned sage, kindly describe eternal time, which is another form of the Supreme Lord, the wonderful actor. What are the symptoms of that eternal time? Please describe them to us in detail. So we can all repeat. Vidura inquired from Maitreya, O my Lord, O greatly learned sage, kindly describe eternal time, which is another form of the Supreme Lord, the wonderful actor. What are the symptoms of that eternal time? Please describe them to us in detail. Okay, so the purport. The complete universe is a manifestation of varieties of entities, beginning from the atoms up to the gigantic universe itself. And all is under the control of the Supreme Lord in his form as Kala, or eternal time. The controlling time has different dimensions in relation to particular physical embodiments. There is a time for atomic dissolution and a time for the universal dissolution. There is a time for the annihilation of the body of the human being, and there is a time for annihilation of the universal body. Also, growth, development, and resultant actions all depend on the time factor. Vidur wanted to know in detail the different physical manifestations and their times of annihilations. So we'll do a little bit of Mangal Charan. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutle Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tribhascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, So as always, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the shloks, they all are unique and they have their unique meanings. And this morning we are reading about the form of Lord Krishna as eternal time factor. And another point, another form is that mentioned here by Vidur to Maitreya is that he is the wonderful actor. A wonderful actor. So I'm going to open this class by the wonderful actor bit, and then we'll come to the serious part about being time factor, because the time factor is serious and it is something to be feared in a way for those who are in the material life. So we'll discuss the second part. The first part is the wonderful actor, and I just wanted to open with this very interesting experience of mine, which is a little bit funny as well. I think I might have related this story a little bit before. I was sitting for my final paper in the degree that I was doing, and my guru had told me that you get ready for initiation. So I had to get ready for initiation, and there was a Bhagavad-Gita exam, and including Chaitanya Charimrita and Nectar of Instructions, and books from here and there, and I was meant to read them and do my exam, which is still going on. We all do our exams before initiation. But I was having this 3 days earlier. I was having my final paper without this, and it happened to be a compulsory paper where I wouldn't be able to pass my entire 3 years lifetime of studying degree if I didn't pass this paper, because it's compulsory. And I was having particular trouble with this paper. It was mathematics, and I didn't do my final year of high school because my teacher told me I'm too smart for my boots. I can go straight to university. So the final year of high school has got that calculus papers and mathematics, and I missed it out. So I was never good in maths anyway. So this paper happened to be a mathematics paper in my degree, and I just didn't have any clue. I was failing it actually. The only thing that was holding me to that paper was the assignment that I did, which my Asian friend helped me because they happened to be very good in mathematics. So I was hanging by a thread, and I really needed to spend all my time in this paper. My whole degree depended on it. And Gurudev had told me, please get ready for initiation. In 6 months' time, there'll be initiation. So I was in a dilemma. So I wrote an email to Gurudev. I practically cried. And the first time I experienced crying against a wall, because people cry against the wall, right? My mother was there. Because I said, what am I going to do? I'm going to fail this initiation. I'm going to fail my degree, everything. And Gurudev wrote in an email, he said, I'm coming to the part about the wonderful actor. Gurudev came to me and he wrote the letter to me, and he said in my as a response to my email, he said, don't worry, you'll be fine. Just, don't worry. So, okay, I said, all right, don't worry. What do I do in 3 days' time? There's 3 days difference between the initiation exam and my final paper exam, and I've got to study so many books. So I thought, okay, leave it. I'm not good in maths anyway. What to do? just give it up. Just worry about the spiritual books, because I can master, a few things in them, and mathematics is never I can't read in 3 days. So just leave it. So I practically left the final paper, and I said, if I have to do this paper again and get my degree next year, that's fine. And then what happened? Lord Krishna came in my dream, which is really, really good, because that's a blessing from Gurudev, because, the highly elevated souls who are your spiritual masters, once they say something, then Lord Krishna is obliged to keep their word. So when Bir Krishna Maharaj said, okay, you'll be fine, so Lord Krishna was probably compelled to keep that word and make sure that I'm fine. So he came into my dream, and he said, I am a very good actor. So this is the part where I'm, coming to that wonderful actor time. He said, I am good at acting. I'm good in drama. He actually told me this. He said, I'm good in drama. And he said, you are good in language. And I said, okay, but my paper is mathematics. So he said, you are good in language, I'm good in drama. And he went away. And that then when I woke up, I thought, okay, well, that's just the end of the paper. I'm good in language, I'm not good in mathematics. So I didn't really study for that paper. Anyway, I went to the degree paper, and when I saw my exam, it had this calculation in the beginning, and I'm supposed to come up with an answer, and then I'm supposed to write a whole paper on a report based on that answer. In other words, it requires language skills. 90% of the paper was language skills, just 10% was calculation. So then obviously my mathematics calculation would be all wrong. But I just said, based on this answer and assuming that my calculation is correct, this is my conclusion. And guess what? I got a B plus in that paper. And I passed. I'm proud of that paper, even though I had A pluses in other papers. But this one was what I was lagging behind. So this is the spiritual life also. We might be lagging behind in a lot of things. In a lot of things. But Krishna, who is the master of drama, is a wonderful actor. He will work out a way to make sure that the devotees are preserved. And even if the devotee gets a B or a C, with that, say B or a C in a spiritual life or material life, whatever's happening in our life, even if you get a B and a C, you should be proud of that, because the other option would have been you'd be failing totally. See, so you managed to get through. And this is what Krishna does. He is like a complete actor. He does all these dramas and he enjoys it, and he enjoys it through us. So that was like a fact that I actually personally experienced. And I thought, well, this is a good way to start the class, because it gives us some inspiration about where devotees stand with Krishna. You know, you might be thinking that I'm not particularly good in this particular service, or I'm not very good in this particular making money, or whatever it is, you know, whatever aspect of life it is. But really, you are sailing through with flying colors when you are beside Krishna. So I'm coming to the next part of this class is the time factor. That is the serious part. Time factor. Vidur is asking Maitreya, please explain about this time factor. So I looked up this shloka from Bhagavad-Gita. It's a famous one. Chapter 11.32. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kalosmi Loka Shya Krit Pravadho Lokan Samarthum Iha Pravrataha Tepi Tvam Na Bhavishyati Sarve Ye Vasishtaha Prati Anekashut Yodha. What that means, the personality of Godhead said, time I am. So he is actually stating to Arjun, time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds. And that's what I mean by the serious part of it. He is the great destroyer of the worlds. And I have come here to destroy all people. As soon as you hear that, you kind of start shivering and shaking in your shoes. I'm here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. So that's a scary side of Lord Krishna, is that he is the all-devouring time factor. So there are many ways of looking at it. One way is we look at it in a very practical sense. There are people who are, endeavoring all their lives to accumulate certain things, and there are people fighting over lots of things, whether it's money or property or trying to even convert people to certain religion and lording over the world or lording over whatever it is. But really, if you really look at it, how long are they going to last? 100 years at the most. It's really useless and unnecessary. So time factor is a very strong thing, and no one has won. No one has ever won over time. Time and tide waits for no man. It devours. And according to this shlok here, the time factor destroys everything, including the universe that we are in. The difference obviously is the expense of time. So there's a lot of time required. But even the universe has a body which will be annihilated, which will be destroyed. And then there's the atoms and the cell and the human being's body. It is a very depressing thought of the morning that we will all die. But we will all die one day. That's the time factor. So what is the solution? Tamal Krishna Maharaj said in his class, and he was very heavy, he pointed at his disciples and said, your body is dead already. You are the dead body. That's kind of like, I'm a dead body. He said, of course, your body is dead. What's alive is your Atma, your soul inside. That's what's living. That's what gives a spark of the body. Without the soul, you are dead anyway. I mean, there's a fanatic Mataji that I knew. I won't name her. We shared the ashram together because I lived in the ashram also in the temple. Every morning she'd wake up, she'd get a piece of cloth and she'll wipe the bed very seriously, and she'll wipe the mat very seriously. So, what are you doing, Mataji? She said, oh, because my body was dead all night. When you're asleep, you are dead. So you've got to clean the bed and the mat. She got the idea. We are the dead body. But that's a little bit fanatic, I think. It'll drive people crazy if you start washing a bed every morning. So what is the solution? The solution, there is actually no other solution other than to be a devotee of the Lord, devotional service. So what does that mean? It means at the time of death, there are two kinds of people, one who don't practice bhakti and one who do. One is in the material sense. The material sense, those people will probably be really scared. We're going to die. Where are we going to go? What's going to happen to us? And what does a pure devotee, they think? Krishna is going to take care of us. But the serious or the challenging part of that is to come to that stage of being, having that mental platform where you think, okay, I'm a devotee. It doesn't matter if my body dies, Krishna will take care of us. That's the hard part. So we'll try to discuss how to achieve that kind of devotional level, because that's kind of, even though Krishna says, I'll save my devotee, but how do you become, such a devotee? Because at the moment, we are practicing devotees. We are doing what is called Vedi Bhakti, which is we are in the practice of it. We haven't really reached Shuddha Bhakti, which is the pure devotional service level. Now, Vedi Bhakti is we follow the rules and regulations, obviously, and we are in the practice of it. And Shuddha Bhakti, how we come to that? Rupa Goswami mentions 3 elements, right? It should be favorable, your bhakti, your devotional service. It should be, what's the other one? It should be favorable, you should be active, and you should be doing it for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. That becomes Shuddha. So how do we describe that? Is if Srimati Radharani comes to you and says, I want some sweet rice. This is obviously Shuddha Bhakti I'm talking about. I want some sweet rice now. And you say, no, I'm just practicing. I'm taking your holy names right. It's time for my chanting now. I'm chanting. So that becomes Vedi if you are Vedic Bhakti, if you are worried about chanting. Or if you just drop everything and make the sweet rice for Srimati Radharani, that is Shuddha Bhakti, because you are doing it for the pleasure of the deities or Radharani. And you are being active and you are being favorable. In that regard, I'll share another experience. I was cooking at Sri Krishna Kali temple, and they cook in gas, and the gas over there is not like the one Krishna kitchen over here. The gas here is fixed, so you just switch it on. Over there they have these huge tanks, and they change the tanks. So what happened on that particular day, it was Raj Bhoga cooking, and the gas finished, and there was no soul inside. And I'm not a strong Mataji, and those big gas, I could not bring them even to save my life and fix it in the kitchen. So I'm looking around to see some Prabhu who could come and fix the gas so that Krishna could eat. I want to feed him. I was in the process of making some very nice delicacies in my mind anyway. I saw this Prabhu outside, and I said, oh, thank God you are here. Thank Krishna you are here, because my cooking would have been late. And Krishna wouldn't have his meal on time. There's no gas in the kitchen. Can you please come and fix the gas? And what was his response? It was an amazing response. He's a Brahmin-initiated devotee. He said, my clothes are not clean. They're not clean. I cannot come in Radharani's kitchen. I can't fix the gas for you. I said, oh, but please, we need to feed Krishna Kalya, and he needs his lunch, and if you don't, then we'll be late, and he will not. No, Mataji, I can't do it. I'm not clean. And I said, there's no one around. Just, Shri Vishnu yourself. He's Achman cup. And just Achman yourself and please come in. He said, no. And I was like, oh my gosh. Time, place and circumstance, right? We are told, adjust according to time, place and circumstance. Sometimes this altar needs fixing, there's maybe some fittings in there and we don't have initiated, not even Hare Krishna, people, not even devotees, they'll come and they'll fix the wall, or because they're technicians or they are some electrical people, they're not practicing devotees, but they still come in there on the altar, even though we are not allowed to be on the altar without being Brahmin initiated and practicing. So time, place and circumstance. And I'm talking about the Vedi Bhakti and the Shuddha Bhakti. And we come to this devotional stage where a devotee is fearless of the time factor. So I'm just like giving an example of how we should be in our devotional service. Time, place and circumstance. If somebody is asking, Radha Maharani is asking for sweet rice, Krishna Kali is asking for his lunch prasadam, there's no gas, please, Prabhu, come in the kitchen. He didn't actually. I was devastated. And so then, by some luck, somebody else came, but a little bit late. And then another Prabhu came and fixed it. Coincidentally, that Prabhu is no longer living, the one who refused. He had a heart attack and he died several years. But I still remember, and it annoys me even today. We need to be able to practice this bhakti, devotional service, ready to drop everything for Krishna's service. That's the whole point. Coming to that stage, being favorable, being, what was the other one? Active. So you actually act. You don't sit and chant. You do something with the intention of pleasing the lordships. Those three things. That's according to Rupa Goswami. So, sadly he's gone. He's not my god brother, but I consider him to be my god brother because I take siksha from his guru, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So, I still remember that. I hope he's fine wherever he is, wherever he may be. But this was a good lesson. So, coming back to His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said, he gave another quotation on as to how to combat this time factor. And I'll read another shlok from another two shloks actually from the Bhagavad-Gita. Sorry, I can never remember my shloks, so I have to read them off. I can find the references though. So, the other reference where you can fight this time factor is Bhagavad-Gita 14.26. Mam cha yo vyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samitat yaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Now what does that mean? One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the mode of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So what that effectively means is that you have to continue your devotional service. You have to continue your devotional service. Gurudev says actually initiation is not enough. So if you happen to get initiation, that's not enough to get you to that platform where you can be fearless. That time will come and devour you. It is mentioned in that, Bhagavad-Gita purport, where that 11.32, where Lord Krishna says, I am the time factor. It is mentioned there that he devours the Brahmins and all the people like a meal. He devours the time factor. The time factor is a representation of Krishna, is a manifestation of Krishna. He says, I am time. It devours people. So we've got to be able to have that fearlessness that, if I died today, would I think of Krishna and would I be scared that what's going to happen to me? We are all scared of dying. But we've got to come to that platform where you say, okay, well, Krishna will take care of us. Why? Because devotional service, it ensures, practically you get the passport that you'll never be born again. So you will not have a repeated cycle of birth and death. In other words, you are never going to be fearful of the time factor again. So that's what it means. So in here it says devotional service needs, that's the only way actually. We know that, so how do we actually come to the devotional service in the first place? Like suppose you are completely unaware of Krishna. Like you were starting off, just like I was during my initiation time. I didn't know anything about Lord Krishna. I didn't know anything about Bhakti. All I knew was that I had to pass this exam, which was not it wasn't looking good. Actually, I had 75% in my exam. So how do we actually come to that state? Now, I was listening to another class at some stage. Gurudev said the only way you can learn about devotional service is you get into a group of devotees and listen Krishna Katha. That's the only way. So, what do you listen to? Like, pastimes of Lord Krishna or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You listen to the pastimes, and in that is hidden the seed of bhakti. The pastimes. What is a seed of bhakti? It is actually a seed that will grow in your heart. It is the love of Krishna. In other words, you hear about somebody so much, you either hate that person or you love that person. Depends on their activities, on their pastimes. So Lord Krishna, anything he does, even if he steals butter, or they said that Lord Krishna used to pinch the babies and make them cry. He used to do that. But see, when we say that, if somebody else did it, we'll say, oh, that's abuse, child abuse. But if Krishna does it, it's funny. We find it funny, we love it because we love Krishna. Anything Krishna does, we find it funny. Imagine Krishna used to pinch the babies. And he used to go and, this is a little bit rude, but he used to pass urine sometimes on places where he was not happy. He was this child. He used to be very naughty, the naughtiest of all babies. I mean, there was a time when he stole this butter from one of the gopis, and he was caught, and he was there with all his gopas, all his partners in crime. They all used to get together in a group and do the stealing. That was their action for the day. That was the plan for the day. Get together, go and steal from somebody, eat the butter, waste it, feed it to the monkeys. So they were doing this, and they got caught. They all scrambled out of the window, all of them. They were very frisky little young boys. They all escaped, except for Madhu Mangal, who was fat or round, roly-poly, so he got stuck in the window. He couldn't come out. He tried his best, but he was stuck halfway through the window. So the gopi who found out that he was caught, got a stick and slapped him from the back, the behind. He got a really good beating before he could escape. There was Madhu Mangal. He's one of Krishna's best friends. But see, these pastimes, we listen to these pastimes and we really enjoy it. That's devotional, that's the love, the bhakti. Actually, that's what connects us to Krishna. So, when we are trying to save ourselves from this time factor, actually during the time of annihilation of the universal body, there is havoc. There's a lot of suffering and there's a lot of pain. And people will be panicking. But devotees, they don't. So how we don't panic is that connection I'm talking about to Krishna. That love for Krishna. That is the only thing that binds you with that fearlessness. You are totally devoted and you are in love with Krishna. And that devotional seed has been planted to you by sitting together with a bunch of devotees who are pure devotees of the Lord, by the way. And they talk about Krishna. And they put that seed in your heart. But that seed in your heart is not going to flourish. That love for Krishna is not going to flourish if you don't water it. And I'm just going to ask this question because I'll make it a little bit interactive. So how do you make that seed grow? Anyone? Yes, correct. Hearing and chanting. You have to constantly chant. That's like giving water to the seed. And you have to constantly hear. And as soon as you do that, the devotion, the love for Krishna will sprout. And it will grow and grow and grow. So the moral of the story is never stop chanting and hearing. Never stop your devotional service. Sometimes we get setbacks in our lives. I mean, every one of us have experienced something or other. This is a material world. It's a Dukhaliyam place. Everything is miserable. So everybody will get a setback, including me. Everybody does. Somebody might die. Or, you get a failure in something. Or you just suffer trauma, or Mon Mataji was just recently talking to me. She had a bad accident, and her spine was broken in many places, so she's still walking. There's many setbacks. But devotional service must never stop. Sometimes you feel even contaminated. Like you might have experienced something and you feel, oh, I'm unclean. Chant, purify yourself, associate with. Sometimes you have to get rid of bad association. People who are negative who pull you down, or people who pull you in a state where you are not practicing sadhana. Could be lust, it could be anything, greed. So you got to get rid of these people in your life, or these elements, whatever elements it might be, in order to come back and be in a clean state and then continue your devotional service, because devotional service must never stop. If that stops, you're finished. You're finished. Because then you will be scared of the time factor, and then you will actually get that repeated birth and death. You'll come back again and again. So, devotional service. Now, with this setback, sometimes we feel setback, and people actually give up and they leave Krishna. They might even want to commit suicide. And the story that comes to mind at the moment is about Narad Muni. He was a 5-year-old child, and his only parent, his mother, had passed away. And the only thing he had in that life, he hadn't become Narad Muni yet, he was still a young child. He had eaten some remnants from the sages that his mother was serving, and he had heard about Krishna from them, these sages. And that was all he had. So when his mother passed away, this 5-year-old Narad Muni did not lose heart. He did not commit suicide. He did not do anything rash or radical. He went into the forest to look for Krishna. It's a very intelligent 5-year-old. I don't know what we would be as a 5-year-old. As a 5-year-old, I don't think I could possibly think like that. But then I never had the opportunity to eat remnants from sadhus and sages like he did. He was lucky. So, rather than commit suicide, rather than take a radical path, rather than take a bad association or blame Krishna, we have to actually turn to Krishna. So he went to look for Krishna in the forest, and then next life he became the Narad Muni. So something like that happens to us as well. Devotees, we experience these setbacks, and we go, why Krishna, why? Why did you do this to me? Didn't I serve you properly? Didn't I serve you good enough? Wasn't I good enough for you? We always say that to Krishna. Why me? Why me? Well, devotees actually experience it because of this one reason. Krishna he wants you to come closer to him. Just like Narad Muni did. He went to look for Krishna in the forest, he became Narad Muni. So when we do that, when we take shelter with Krishna, we continue our devotional service. We are not only fearless of the time factor, we actually attain what? We attain our Siddha Deha, our spiritual body. It's through that. And I can vouch, I can actually tell you that it's true, because I've experienced it. Every setback I have ever experienced, the latest one so far, it not just brings you closer to Krishna, because I started chanting 108 rounds, oh my God, because you're scared, of falling. So, after you do that, you suddenly, it clicks, because I was sitting this is a funny story, I was sitting in a class with Gurudev, just before this saga, all this havoc happened. Gurudev said, you are doing this devotional service, you are doing chanting, you could easily, realize what your body is, your Siddha Deha. You could easily be a cow. And he said, once you realize you're a cow, you'll go around mooing every day. And he looked at me and he told me, you could be a cow. And I said, Gurudev, are you saying I'm a cow? And he really laughed at that. Anyway, I can tell Gurudev I'm not a cow in Vrindavan, because I found out. Because of this experience, this chanting, and you have to do it with full faith, obviously, there's no one but Krishna. And you have to surrender yourself fully to Krishna. These setbacks that you receive in your life, they are a turning point of your life. That's how a devotee sees it. It's a turning point. Now, which way you turn, it's your choice. Some people, they actually leave ISKCON. Because some devotees have heard them so much, I'm never going to come to the temple again. It has happened. Because we've been in so many years in ISKCON, it's happened. But no, that's not how we should look at it. We should in fact turn to Krishna even more. And then you will realize what your relationship to Krishna is. I know I'm not a cow, thank you Krishna, although I love cows. But you know who you are to Krishna. And that's your Siddha Deha. That's just so the devotional service, the chanting, the hearing, they are all true and real. They're very real. That works. And Krishna comes to you personally. Personally. Just like he came personally to Kunti Maharani whenever she called him. The Pandavas, whenever she called him. The Pandavas, whenever they called him. Draupadi. It is true, he comes. 100%. He comes to protect his devotees. And it depends on the level of surrender. So these setbacks that you get, the reversals, or somebody is torturing you, somebody is pulling you down into something that your sadhana, your bhakti is being affected, don't be disheartened and don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. You will get there. So thank you for listening. We are right on time. If anyone has any comments or questions. Yes. Correct. Okay. So the question is, these setbacks, which is a very good question. Setbacks actually affects our enthusiasm. It actually pulls us down, which can bring us to the level of anxiety and depression. It's a fact. Now, it depends on the level of anxiety and stress. Now, I'm going to go a little bit out of the box. Once my spiritual master, he was talking about this. Now, some stresses and distresses are so much that you really need professional help. So in that case, you need to go to a therapist who will talk you through it. And sometimes with devotees, because I've actually experienced this, Matajis come to me, devotees come to me and ask, and I give them counseling. So on WhatsApp, one Mataji from Risman, she said, I'm suffering this setback and I want help. I think I need professional help, because I told her. And she said, people are telling me to talk to devotees, senior devotees. And I don't really want, senior devotees to know what's going on with me. Because, this is ISKCON and it spreads like wildfire. Your business is everybody's business in no time. She said, I'm not comfortable talking to devotees. I said, okay, please seek a counselor. Because they are impartial. Okay, so this is on the serious side. If you're really anxiety, in a real bad situation, seek counseling. Pick up the phone. There is a counseling, and they will talk to you in confidence, and that helps. Now, if it is not that serious, then that means that you need to make some adjustments. Some adjustments are required. Now, what adjustments need to be required? You've got to analyze what are your needs. Sometimes people need to change their location. Simple as that. I'm not saying that applies to everyone. Sometimes just means that you just need to change your association. Like it has happened to me very recently. I had a best friend, she's my god sister, and I refused to bring her to Mangalarti, and she blasphemed me on Facebook, all over the Facebook, to say that I'm not a fit preacher. And she wrote it in such a general terms, anybody will say, oh, what is Syamapriya up to? Why is she not fit for a preacher? And all I did was didn't bring her to Mangalarti, because that's my time for japa. I don't want any disturbance at that time. I will not pick her up. I will not pick anyone up. And that was really crazy. I had to leave her association. I had to block her from my Facebook, because every time I put a post there, she would blaspheme me on there. So that was the adjustment I needed to make. Get rid of her. She's my best friend, my god sister. That was really upsetting. That is traumatic, because you lose somebody special to you. But you got to do it. You got to do what you got to do. So in other words, you sometimes in Hare Krishna, you being a devotee, chanting, seva is not enough. You got to be a little bit hard. You got to be a little tough. You've got to cut people out of your life. You got to cut them out of your life. You have to seek alternative. Sometimes you just have to look up for higher association. You just have to understand your needs. Like for example, it's a very simple problem also. The devotees tend to be a little bit broke, financially challenged. Not everyone, but quite a few of us. Get a job. Get a job. And sometimes, it can also be a varnashram. You could be a brahmachari, and I'm sick of being a brahmachari. There was a time when I'm sick of being a Mataji all my life. People they want to come and touch my feet, and I don't want that. I just want to sit with them and have a good chat. I don't want to sit alone somewhere and they look at me in a different level, so I can't relate with them. I can't go and sit there and have a nice joke and, have a fun time and prasad and dancing and singing and all that. You get sick of who you are. So you gotta adjust, find some friends. If you're a brahmachari, you're sick of being a brahmachari, become a grihastha. I'm not saying it's happening to you, so don't get me wrong. It is not, but you might need to. Just have to make those adjustments. So why you make those adjustments, I'm coming to the point, is that your needs have to be satisfied in order to be enthusiastically serving Krishna. When your needs are not satisfied, you will not be motivated. You will be sad, upset, anxious. Your service to Krishna will be hampered. Or that setbacks, you'll be depressed. So you need to make those adjustments. There was a time when I used to travel in 3 countries. Why I did it? Because it was fun. It kept me motivated. Serve Krishna Kalya, serve Radha Giridhari Noklan, serve Gopinath. You serve everywhere. That was too much because it depends on your nature, psychophysical nature. It doesn't mean you're a psycho. It just means that's your nature, that you are that active. You need that outlet. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said in his class, which is really heavy, which I couldn't possibly do, but some people have done it. He was saying, if you have a need to go out there and associate with, he was talking to his boys, associate with a woman, go out there and get it out of your system and then come back. Don't contaminate my temple. In other words, don't associate with the ladies here. Go and get it out of your system, come back. And I was like, did he really say that? It's there in his classes, I heard it. But what he was saying was, try not to contaminate this temple, the environment. Go out. But get it out of your system. And I was like, whoa. But then you need to be able to have your needs fulfilled. Otherwise, I'm not preaching for you to have illicit sex life or anything like that. Please do not, because that's wrong. But just get married or something. Or get a job if you don't have money. Or get a counselor if you need counseling. Or change your association with somebody's blaspheming you on your Facebook. That's the whole point. Satisfy your needs. Look at what your needs are and fix it. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry it's taking so long for that explanation. Anything else? Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you for listening. Srimad Bhagavatam Puran ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.